You are interfering. Italy Tango 9 BDM, you are transmitting right on top of us. We're trying to do a weekly net. Please look before you transmit. Okay, guys, let's hope we can continue. I can offset Leon. Yeah, we've just been interfered with by Italy Tango 9 Bravo Delta Mike. Perhaps it's an accident. We certainly hope so. In the spirit of amateur radio, things happen. Maybe he was transmitting on another frequency. But anyway, but we'll carry on. Firstly, let's start again. This is ZA6YI operating the worldwide net today, live from near Johannesburg. I want to wish everyone on frequency a very happy afternoon, happy good morning, and of course good evening for those in Israel and in India. Sorry about the delay, something totally beyond our control, but I'm sure it was just an error on Italy Tango 9 Bravo Delta Mike side. Mind you, he can play the guitar very well, so anyway, we want to welcome all the YouTubers, and today we have quite an interesting program. I just want to bring up the list. Oh dear, what am I doing now? Yeah, this is my floods. I've got floods here in my back garden. I don't know what that looks like on video at the moment going out. You see how jerky it is, but that's where the water is, very, very close to the house. But let me take that off and try and bring the list back up. And then let's get that going. I'll have to just bring it up. There we go, guys. And hopefully we can see who's on today. By the way, if you do want to participate as on transmitting, then you go onto this site. I'll just click it on and off a few times so that you can get to see it. And then you can go onto there if you do want to transmit on the weekly net. Anyway, today we want to welcome Mike Zero Delta Quebec Whiskey, Matt. Matt's got a very interesting program. I had a review of it last night, and of course via his YouTube channel, Tech Minds, fantastic channel to go onto. And I suggest all amateurs should support it very much. But Matt's doing well on that one. Look forward to your presentation today there, Matt. And hello to you, Martin, G8KOE, nice to have you on. Hello to ZS1 Mike, and then Leon to Peter, GW7BZY, with a very nice looking picture today there, and audio, Peter. And then, Peter, will you pass it to Mike, G0 Mike Juliet Whiskey, and Mike brings in Tom, ZR6 Tango Golf. Apologies from Dave. He had a lovely wedding yesterday. His daughter got married, so he wasn't able to make it today, but he did send his regards to all. And then also Martin, G4FKK, who's having lunch. Now, why don't we get video on the YouTube channel? Today we've got Murphy really throwing us around, haven't we? Let's see. Anyway, so once again, Brian, thanks for coming up and telling us that you won't be on, but I'm pleased to hear that you had a wonderful wedding, and that's all that counts. So, right, so those are the guys on the list at the moment. Let me just take that off, and there we go, back to the video. So, right, I wonder if you're ready, Matt, for your quick presentation. It doesn't have to be quick, by the way. Mike Zero DQW from Zulu Sierra 6 Yankee.
Hi everybody, hopefully you can hear me okay. Yeah, okay, so audio is working fine. Thank you very much, Gary, and hopefully things will work well today. So yeah, as Gary mentioned, I don't know if any of you guys have watched a couple of videos that I've done. So for the past couple of weeks, I've been building everything back into a box, basically. I wanted to have everything remotely mounted in the conservatory and controlled via Ethernet. And this is basically to have a system where I could transmit and receive on DATV and also use narrowband as well. So and it's working. I'm pretty pleased that it's working. So I'll show you some pictures. Hopefully they'll come over okay. So let me just bring up this, and hopefully you can still hear me okay. Hopefully that's clear. But you can probably tell what each of those items are. Bottom left is a Raspberry Pi, and then I have just some sensors, voltage sensors on like some variaboard. I have the mini tuner, and over on the right hand side I have the Pluto SDR going into a preamp. Then I have a Leo Bodner GPS on the top right. And then next to that, I have a bias T for the LMB, and that comes into an RF divider. Originally, I was going to actually use a switch. I don't know why I didn't think of using an RF like divider there, but anyway, someone suggested it on one of the videos, and I thought, well, you know what, I'll just I'll do that, and well, yeah, it works. It works really well. Saves having another relay. And then at the top in the middle is just an Ethernet switch. And wow, the band's got really busy by the looks of it. Hopefully you can all decode me okay. And then we've got then there's a relay to the left of the network switch. And then there's some power converters on the left, three of them, because I'm running 28 volts in from the power supply, and then that's being stepped down to 12, 18 and 5 volts. Now incidentally, I first started this project using an Arduino, and the Arduino I had an Ethernet shield on it, and it kept locking up. I don't know why. It wasn't even when I was transmitting. The relay switches kept lagging, things like that. It wasn't a memory problem, because I originally had a memory problem with I used an Arduino Uno to start off with, and I ran out of memory on that quite quickly. So I switched to a Mega, and then that cured the problem. And then it just, anyway, I changed to Node Red. Someone suggested you should try using Node Red, run it on the same Pi as I was running the Longmind server software for receiving, and that's what I'm doing. So it's great. I've got a little heat sink. I don't know if you can see it on the picture, but there's a little heat sink with a fan on it on the Pi. The Pi was running about 50 degrees, and with that on it, I think it's about 30. I'll show you in a moment. So let me show you the if I had Winter Hill, or maybe that Mike saying if I had a Winter Hill. Well, maybe that's another project, because I've got an area next on my desk here in my shack stroke office, and it's kind of clear now where I've had this 2U rack for the past. Let me just see if I can change the pictures actually, so you can see. But anyway, I've got a bit of an area now on my desk where I can build some more stuff. So it'd be interesting. I might have to start building things. Also, the relay that I'm using here, it's HID, so it works over USB. It's so much more reliable and quicker than using the digital pins that I was using on the Arduino, which was quite nice. You've seen that. You've seen that. Let me just go back to this board here. So this board in the middle, because the Raspberry Pi doesn't have analog pins, and I wanted to take a couple of analog inputs. I've got an ADC in the middle. It's the middle board down the bottom. So the 3 boards on the left and the one down the bottom, they run off I2C. And then the 2 sort of sensors, one at the top right is goes off to a thermistor. The one underneath that is just the voltage sensor for 18 volts, because the 3 on the left, they are actually current and voltage sensors, but there's some kind of weird calculation issue on Node Red with that module, and anything over 16 volts, the voltage just goes negative. So I needed something to measure 18 volts, so I've gone on an analog side there. And the bottom right is just 2 resistors as a voltage divider, 100K and a 4.7K with a little trim pot. And that just provides me an analog signal or voltage, so I can monitor 28 volts from the power supply. Right, hopefully I haven't bored you with that. Let me just show you the dashboard, and that'll be my lot for this. So the dashboard, now this is the dashboard that I've made in Node Red. Let's just see if it goes over. There we go. So, well, it's pretty self-explanatory, really. So my PTT, as it were, is the control, the panel on the left, the preamp. So I've got preamp on and preamp off. I'm measuring the voltage to the preamp, and then obviously the current that it's drawing while I'm transmitting. And obviously I'm not going to click preamp off now, otherwise you won't be able to hear and see what I'm talking about. So, and then obviously I've got LNB voltage, 2 buttons down the bottom, NB, SSB, and DATV. So the narrow band, if I press that, it will change the voltage down to, I think it's down to about 13 volts. I think it puts it down to the 13.8 volt rail. And then so it puts the LNB into vertical. So if I want to use SDR console and work on the narrow band, that's what that's for. And then the center column, that's just my voltage rails, just to keep an eye on the 5 volts, because obviously I've got 5 volts that feed the network switch, the Pluto, and also the Pi. And then we've got to the right of that, we've got Pluto SDR. Now, some of this information is coming from MQTT. So with the firmware that I've got running in there, which is the Perseverance, I think 303, you can connect an MQTT client to it. And I'm pulling out the FPGA temperature. And also down the bottom, I'm picking up the nominal, the buffer and the net bit rate, which is quite good. So I can see if there's any underflows or overflows. I mean, I'm using DATV, so it should stay at nominal. Just above that, between those two, where it says GPSDO status, I've got SAT locked and PLL locked. Now I've got my Leo Bodner connected to the Pi through USB. The Pi is also powering it. Obviously, it only needs 5 volts, and it doesn't actually need to be connected to a computer as such to carry on working, if you're familiar with the Leo Bodners. But what you can do is, I found there's a script that Leo Bodner released where you can query the Leo Bodner. You can actually configure it completely from command line. So just using some script on Node Red, I was able to poll the Leo Bodner. I think it polls every 5 to 10 seconds. And the response from that script, you just use some Node Red code or blocks or whatever. It's all new to me, so the terminology might not be quite right, and you can extract basically the information that you want. So if I was to unplug the GPS antenna, it would go to SAT unlocked or PLL unlocked, etc. And then over on the right hand side, we've got heatsink temperature. That's just a thermistor, as I mentioned before, and that's just kind of bolted onto the heatsink. The temperature that it's showing there might not be completely accurate because I'm not entirely sure if the calculations I've got are correct in the Node Red node. But it is about right. It's about right. And as you can see underneath that, there's a curve in the chart, so you can see when obviously I haven't been transmitting. The first little peak was when I was transmitting my test signal earlier, and then as I've been talking now, it's going up. Right, okay, so I think that's enough waffle from me, and I hope you all heard and saw that okay. So I think I'll put it over to, it's Martin next, I think, G8KOE. So from Mike 0 to Delta Quebec Whiskey to G8KOE.
Well, I was hoping it was going to transmit. Let's get fingers crossed that we've got some audio. I was hoping it was going to transmit. Yeah, I don't know how I follow that really, there, Matt. It's very good. It's where I struggle. I do struggle with that side of things big time, which is why I just nicked various bits of code that were already written on what I do, which that is on an Arduino Uno, which can go to, which is what this is. Let's give it. Oh, I'm clicking on the wrong thing now. Which is this lot. Right, let's just move the chat down a little bit. It's actually two. I couldn't combine the code to run both, but I can switch all those different channels. But I'm going to change it all something simpler because I don't need to do it in the way in which I'm doing it. It's one thing I'm in the process of doing. And I was going to use the addition of DATV Easy just to keep it all small and simple and such like, which that uses Arduino Uno and the Ethernet shield. And I was going to ask if anyone had played with that and whether it did work okay. But now perhaps I need to rethink. I see Tom's on, so that's his chat window that he did and made the text larger for me, which was really nice. I think I did send him an email, whether it got through to him or not. The only problem I find is that the input window as such, or the input line, remains small. If I type anything in down there, it's a bit on the small side. So if I was being critical, it'd be nice if I could enlarge that as well. But the rest of it, great. Absolutely. Thank you very much. It's really nice that Tom did that. Just for me, I think, really. But and I think the other thing that someone was asking for, which has probably been asked for on the long-wing client, was a mute button for the sound. That was JTT. John JTT was mentioning the other night. It'd be nice if there was a mute button, as he was wandering around doing when I had a QSO with him, I think it was. Right, let's go back to a picture. What have I been up to is I've been slowly getting rid of things together for the other dish that I'm going to be using, which is an offset dish. I think Mike asked last week and I missed it on the chat. So I've been getting the feed slowly together, which modifying some brackets, etc., which I haven't finished, but let's see the files I've got. That's it so far. There's a potty in there, which obviously I can take off the cover arrangement. Ooh. Camera works terrible, really. That's it. With the bracket and particular B. Didn't enjoy making the hole, I must admit, but I think that probably will suffice. So I've just got to get it into the right position on the dish, which I will when we have a nice day weather-wise. Go back to the camera. So that's what I've been playing with, that side of things. I'll add it to the list. Thank you, Tom. The other thing I got, which I wasn't expecting to, but I had a means for a pointer, a laser sort of pointer, but I didn't expect to get one of those given to me, which is exceedingly bright. It's that's what it says on the label, and it was originally sort of given to me to play with the cat, but yeah, I don't think I'll do that. It's a little bit bright, to put it mildly. I probably can't emulate the probably sharp, it says, well on the wall, and it's there anyway, but not that's just the big pattern that they can do, but it seems to go for miles. When I pointed out, of course, it's some trees that are miles away. I say miles away, but anyway, that's sort of sidetrack things that I wasn't expecting. What else? What else? Oh, my laptop. The story of my laptop, which I think I started last week, which was a Dell laptop. Still having problems with it, but they're giving me my money back. So that's going back to Dell, and they're refunding it. I was quite surprised. I expected they would send me a replacement one, as it was playing up with the all things, the webcam intermittently not being there. But, yeah, I was just looking at the chat. It's nice that it scrolls up there, Tom, so thank you very much. That's probably enough waffle from me. I'm totally not prepared. I think it's from following from Matt. I think it's unfair. It's too technical for me. No bread, or I think I vaguely looked at it one stage, and I thought my poor little brain cell's not going to get to it. Right, I think it's Leon that follows on from me. So I'll pass it. I'll put a quick test card up, and then hopefully drop carrier for you there, Leon. G8KOE.
Okay, ZS6 Yankee India and the group, ZS1 Mike saying very good afternoon to everybody. Yeah, we're all more or less in the same time zone today. Okay, yeah, Matt, I can't even remember whether we've spoken before, but anyways, nice meeting you. Yeah, I think you were probably on the previous weekend when I was not here. Very nice station that you've built there, all in one box. Very nice combined setup there. I see you running the Pluto Open. Well, as long as it works. Martin, yeah, you've got all sorts of fancy dials and things, and a brand new potty. I haven't got a potty. I just made just a patch antenna, a circular, well, it's not a square but circular polarized patch, and I'm using a separate dish for reception. Yeah, I don't have much to tell. I this morning I tried out my new little network analyzer. I bought a new one which goes higher. It goes to 6.3 gigs, and it's really amazing the extra features they've added in that thing, and it's much faster too, much quicker than the old one. And I discovered that some of my airband walkie-talkie radios for normal aviation, one of them, the antenna is definitely not the right antenna for it. It's at about 180 megs where the thing resonates, so I'll have to make a plan about that. The other ones are all, I've got a whole selection of them, and the other ones are pretty good, and even some of my 2-meter walkie-talkies handhelds are, the antennas are good. But that one, I got it like that, and it was in a bit of a state, and I cleaned it all up and put new heat shrink over the rubber ducky antenna and so on, but that's not the right antenna for it, definitely not. But yeah, the little network analyzer works very nicely, and it's got a bigger screen than the older ones, so it I can see what goes on it, and lots of markers and all sorts of things, lots of data you can get out of this little machine. So yeah, okay, Peter, I give it back to you, and I hope you've got the GH4 connected now, because that thing with a proper lens on it makes video like nothing else. In the lowest of low light, it still gives you a noise-free picture. It's really very good. GW7 BZY for the group. ZS1 Mike.
GW7 BZY. I haven't, Leon, sorry. I was just looking around for the micro HDMI. You just turn the sound off on my monitor. I find it a little bit awkward to use because it's got all kinds of menus on it, and when I started playing with it last time, it's years or so since I've actually. I wonder if it actually comes on. Well, the battery's good, obviously. And the lens I have on it is just a kit lens. I bought just the body. I think I purchased that from eBay, and I've got another lens which I've got from eBay. I don't know where it is now. It used to be in this case that I moved about 2 years ago, maybe 2 years ago now. And in that move, you know, lots of stuff just disappears, evaporates. I don't know if you've moved. I'm sure you have, and you know how it is. It's usually the most expensive and smallest stuff that seems to evaporate. I don't like it. I don't like it because it's fiddly. I find it's too sensitive to colour, mixed colour. You've got to be very careful with it, with your lighting. And yeah, it's sharp, I suppose. But the colour isn't very natural. The colour isn't very good. It's one chip colour, isn't it? And I think it's got a very sort of magenta hue to it. Otherwise, it looks, you know, you can compensate for that, and it is lots of, and there is a waveform monitor of sorts. I think on it. I think there's some kind of monitor in it. It works really well. I've got to say, I used it as a station camera for a number of years when I was transmitting directly from Anglesey into the repeater in Pensan, which is just outside of Amlach Port. None of the places you'll. Oh, maybe if I speak into the microphone might be a help as well, because I've got no auto gain on the camera at the moment. Nice pictures from you, Matt. Very sophisticated. What? That's the business. I'm put to shame in my station. I have a. Well, I thought I'm going to go high tech. I put a switch on the drive ramp, so when I can fire up Pluto and get it warmed up before I go on air. So that's the latest technology. Well, it's not actually the latest; it's some time ago, but that's the only thing I've done to it. And when I want to know how warm the amplifier is, I've got this sophisticated probe here that I just stick on the top, and if it's ouch or warm, then it's not good. So I might get an Adreno, however it's pronounced, and have a play with that. Of course, it's spending the money, isn't it? Money I don't mind spending on cameras and cars. I spend thousands, tens of thousands, I suppose. But other things, which, you know, like Adrenos and sensors and what have you. I mean, probably a good idea, because if the PA might die one day because I've overcooked it, and it doesn't work. I like the I was going to say King of England there, Martin. I like your box over the potty. I need to put something over mine. I've got a sandwich bag over it at the moment, and it was filling up with water until I made a hole in the bottom corner. So they say plastic waste doesn't degrade, so I'm hoping that's going to be true, and it'll be there for a number of years. I'm running a 1.25 meter dish, which I've got up on the gable end, and that was fun putting up. I didn't want it on the ground level. I wouldn't, you know, who knows who goes into your back garden? It's not secure, and if someone was to walk in front of it, it would probably do them some harm. It'd be a child or something, I don't know. So I've got it right up on the gable end, and that was fun putting up there. Put it up on a tower, and the tower was, I think, only about 1.5 meters by 1.5 meters, 2 meters maybe, but the dish was bigger laying flat. There was no room for me and the dish, so it was entertaining. I have to say, getting the thing up there. Very poor hand. It was an old thing. It was rickety and wobbly and wasn't complete, and we had two or three planks on it rather than the full deck. So I had fun. I used to be a roofer's mate for some time, not very long, but in my youth, and I was never frightened. I used to have one plank of wood that went, 2 planks, one to walk on, 4 or 5 inches wide, it was 6 inches wide, and one I carried and put down and moved along the scaffolding and put 2 together and worked off it. Of course, now I don't think I could do that. That's kind of veering off subject, isn't it? Got to get my glasses out. Yeah, I'm actually running 25 frames a second at the moment. I haven't been, although I believed I was running 15. I don't think I was even running that. I think Leon and Gary put me straight on there was something seriously wrong, and there was something seriously wrong, which I've now corrected. Thank you, Gary. Was concerned about your flooding as well. Good to see that it hasn't overwhelmed you and you've not been inundated. Yeah, PA. Oh, the latest version of QuickTune. I've downloaded that too for the same reason as Martin there, so I could see the text. Especially on my 4K monitor, it's absolutely tiny. Although I've got a second monitor now, so I can judge whether or not. I've probably got rattling on for too long now. I can't actually see, but it doesn't work. Put it simply, it doesn't work. It doesn't find the RIDE receiver, even though I put the address in and do exactly the same settings as the previous version, and the previous version still works, but the new version doesn't work. Now you might say you'll have to uninstall the old version. That might be the case, but I don't feel inclined to in case that doesn't work afterwards. So I'm going to stick with the old version for now. With that, I'll hand it back, and who am I handing it back to? I'm going to hand it back to Mike G0MJW from GW7BZY.
Thank you, Peter. G0MJW, sitting in the dark. And there's a bit of sunlight causing some issues to the camera, as you can probably tell. Anyway, there's a reason for that, which is which is the first thing I was going to show. And it was just to turn the light off. So, I don't know if you can make that out, but it is the it's the caribou light, which is now working, and it is effectively, hang on, let me just configure the video. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to zoom in so you can see what we're looking at. So let me just zoom in, and sorry it's all upside down. No, it isn't upside down, it's the right way up. That's good. Finally got the software working with this, and it's doing things. So I'm just come the other way. So hopefully you can see that that's the receiver. And if I go to the command window, which I'm afraid you can't see, and type the button to turn off the transmitter, and then type it again, turn it back on. So progress of sorts, anyway. So that's what we're doing, and that's why the light's off. But the other thing I was going to talk about is Matt was showing us his shack and his setup rather for his QO-100. So here's mine, and I don't know if it is all that easy to see. I only just took this photo about 5 minutes before the net, so the contrast and everything, I didn't have time to mess around and get things right. But I guess you can see that the temporary system set up in 2019 is still in its same position. It has gone through several iterations, mind you. So let me just go through what we've got. So Pluto is generating the signal. It's connected to this network switch, which is connected to my network, and that's driven from my PC, or it could be anywhere in the house, or in fact anywhere on the internet with the right access through the VPN. Ignore this is an RTL SDR monitoring other things and not related to this at all. So the Pluto is driving via this little board here, which is a gain block, this box here, which is the amplifier, which is stealth microwave 50-watt amplifier, and it's got fans on it for cooling, and it's got another fan which is blowing air through the heatsink all the time. These fans only come on transmit. This thing here is the power supply. It takes 18 amps at 12 volts. Regardless of the output power, it's in class A. These relays here are simply the PTT controlled by the PTT relay inside the Pluto. This unit here is the Arduino power monitoring unit, which I've had issues with the reliability of that. After a while it locks up and it doesn't measure, but I'm now only powering it up. Every time I power the system up, that gets repowered up. The whole thing is controlled via a smart plug, which turns the power on and off to this power supply. This box here is a Winter Hill receiver, which is doing the receiving, and it's connected via a power splitter to the receive antenna. Here's another power splitter. This is another Winter Hill receiver, the early prototype, which is not switched on at the moment. This here is an Octagon, which is a commercial receiver which you can get on eBay or various other places, that does actually receive narrowband DATV, but which signal it actually picks up is a bit of a lottery. It doesn't seem to be able to tune very accurately. Latches onto the strongest signal, the first one it finds. So useful for looking at repeaters terrestrially, but not particularly useful for QO-100, where there are several signals next to each other. And I've been meaning to put all this in a box, but never really got round to it. So there you go, that's the system. Actually, let me just sort out the lighting. Lighting makes a huge difference to picture quality, so I'll put the lighting on now, and apologies for the sun in the background. I'll also now be able to look at the chat, which I couldn't see before. I had nothing there, so that's good. Apart from that, I don't think I've got anything else to add, so I will pass it straight on. And who is it? ZR6TG, I think it's you, Tom, isn't it? So round to you. G0MJW.
Okay, thanks there, Mike. G0MJW, well received there. And hi everybody on the net this afternoon. Good to see everybody. And yeah, it's it's been raining like crazy here, like Gary's been showing with the floods there. Luckily I'm not close to the river, so I'm in no danger of being flooded, but the roads around here has been nuts. So it's been crazy, and it's also been interfering with some of the new projects that I've been wanting to do. But yeah, good to see everybody. So yeah, I haven't done crazy much this week. One of the things that I started last weekend with the idea of showing something more this weekend was, you guys remember the portable rotator that I got going, that I wanted to mount on the chimney. Mount on this one. So I haven't actually managed to get much done this week, but I did get this made. Nice little solid plate that gets mounted on top of the chimney roof, and that's what's going to hold the portable rotator. So I actually did a quick test fit in between the rain. I can actually show it. So there you can see it actually fits all nicely on the roof rack, and the idea is to be able to easily put it on and take it off as needed. And yeah, I think it came out quite nice. So yeah, not much to show around that yet. Today was like the first day that it actually stopped raining the whole week, so hopefully it will stay like that for a couple of days and I can actually make some progress there. Matt, yeah, very nice setup indeed. You've put it together nicely, and yeah, the node rate works beautifully on that. I did see the comments on you wanting to use the RF switch. Yeah, Mike, but when it rains here, we don't have proper water to drain away, so everything just starts piling up. Anyways, Matt, yeah, I'm glad you went with the splitter. Splitting the signal really works well. Actually, the signal coming from my dish, I'm splitting it 4 ways. I've got it going to a Pluto, 2 mini tuners, a Winter Hill, and 5 ways, and even an RTL SDR. So you can split it quite a few times without having any degradation of signal or anything like that. But well done. No, it looks very cool, and definitely like the node rate setup. It's very similar to mine. Definitely went very similar way. But yeah, glad it's working out for you. Martin, yeah, to be honest, I forgot about the input window. That's why I didn't adjust that. So I did get your email, and I'll fix up that input there, and then I'll send it to you off as well. And the mute button, yeah, I could have sworn we had a mute button in the Longman client, but I checked now and it doesn't look like I actually put it in. So I might be thinking about the Winter Hill client, so I'll put that in. Leon, yeah, good to see you there as well. Beautiful signal as always. I actually got a light up now as well, so you'll see it's a bit lighter in here, and I can actually switch or change the brightness. So I don't know if it's making that much of a difference, but yeah, that's there, so we'll see how it goes. Peter, regarding QuickTune on your side, I'm not quite sure why it's not working for you. Nothing was changed in terms of connecting, to ride and Winter Hill and all that. So it should still work just the same way. All the changes that were done was purely visual. So it's a bit weird. I also can't imagine that you would need to uninstall the old version first. I mean, just have it in a separate folder and see if you can run it from there. Just make sure you're not trying to run both of them at the same time. Maybe when you close the one, if to try the other one, maybe it was still running in memory or something, so maybe do a reboot in between, see if that makes a difference. But yeah, I haven't had any other complaints from anybody else, so might be more specific related on your side. Another thing you can check is if you run quite a strict firewall, then you might need to adjust the firewall to actually use that new executable. I've had a few guys struggling with the Longman client, and then it turned out to be firewall related. So that's something to look at. But yeah, drop me an email if you're not coming right, and I'll help you troubleshoot it. It's not a problem. Who else was there? Peter, Mike, yeah, I'm jealous of you playing with the Karibo light. Still haven't received mine, so I guess we'll just wait and see what happens there. And then yeah, Gary, always good to see you as well. I'm glad. Yeah, the water is definitely getting dangerously close. But yeah, it's hopefully it doesn't get much worse than that. Okay, that's about it from me this week. Good to see everybody, and I'll hand it over back there to Gary. ZS6YI here from Zulu Romeo 6 Tango Golf.
Okay, I just took a photo of our little bokkie. It's a springbuck. Okay, that's in the background, right next to the water's edge. And I have another buck. I've got two buck in the back garden, and they were a little bit flustered in the beginning, but they're starting to like this now. Yeah. Anyway, be that as it may. Right, all good from all stations. And interesting on your side there, Matt. I did see your video on your tech mines, and perhaps you can put up a web page on your next over, and people can go and watch it. I'm sure most people do know about it. I think you had like 39,000 viewers on the one I saw the other day. So yeah, it's really getting mileage. But well done on that project. It's coming together very nicely. And yeah, I think you've got all things worked out. You can work both narrowband and, of course, the DATV out of one box. That's ideal. Makes it nice if you want to take it around for demos. You don't have to cart half the shack around. And you're bound to get trouble when you do that. You can ask Tom. I carted half my shack to go and do a demo, and for whatever reason I couldn't transmit. It did in the beginning, and then it packed up, but I found out what it was in the end. But who likes those type of experiences when you have a lot of guys talking? But we still made a good QSO, the couple of guys, and Leon popped in, so it was very nice indeed. Okay, on your side, you're doing very, very well, Martin. You play yourself down. Meantime, you're doing marvelous things on DATV, so I'm very impressed with this things that you do. I must be honest. So don't take yourself down. You're doing very well indeed. Yeah, Tom, some nice. That's a nice bracket you got there. I presume that was laser cut, and it looks good, nice and sturdy. So I don't think you'll have a problem with that at all. And okay, Leon, yeah, excellent video like usual, no problem. And then Peter, yeah, that was a good over. It's nice to talk into the mic now and then, but we copied everything, so it wasn't as bad as last week when we had no audio. We heard everything, and yeah, that's a nice camera, that little portable camera. I think it's a National, if I'm not mistaken. Leon's heart is totally set on one of those, I can tell you. And Mike, yeah, your temporary system, well, it's for all the intensive purposes, it is boxed. It just needs a lid and another side. Then you've got it in a box. What you worried about? It works, and that's the main thing. So sometimes those, and I can talk from experience, those things that you plonk on the table as just temporarily, which becomes permanent, still work the best. And when you do try and tidy it up, everything, the wheels fall off. So we've had that for a number. I suppose there's not a radio amateur around that hasn't had that. Okay, Matt, back to you, sir. Fire up those engines. Mike Zero Delta Quebec Whiskey to take it from Zulu Sierra 6 Yankee India.
Okay, thanks, Gary. Hopefully you can all hear me okay. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Right, well, I made some notes. First thing, actually, I will quickly show you is one of the things on the dashboard that I made. I also got another flow. It's actually this is actually predefined. I actually downloaded this from the palette manager, I think it was, and it's just a nice way of keeping an eye on the pie itself that's running in there. I think I mentioned before, without the fan it was around just over 50 degrees, and with the fan it's running at well, it says there 31.1. So that's quite good. My YouTube channel, you probably all know about this anyway. But yeah, this is my YouTube channel. Basically, it's where I put videos up so that, you know, when I get really old and start losing my marbles, I can go back and relearn all the things that I forgot. But I've got quite a lot of videos on here, mainly all about kind of SDRs and all sorts of different kind of things, really. Anything related to radio. It doesn't really matter what it is as long as it's related to radio. And there's a video there that I've done of Tom's software, which is absolutely brilliant. Yeah. So, notes. Martin, KOE. I saw that you've got a potty there. Now, I'm using a helix, a little small ice cream cone helix, which is pointing towards the dish. I want to try a potty, or POTY, however you want to pronounce it. Did you build yours? Did you get yours cut out, or did you buy it from somewhere? I can't seem to find anywhere that sell them. I know Passion Radio sells some. They're quite expensive and they're completely round. And I did contact them, and they because they sell one which connects into comes with an it comes with an LMB, I think it does. And I asked, because I use the Bullseye LMB as well. I love the Bullseye LMB, but I'll get another one and fit the pot in it. But anyway, if you could tell me where you got yours from, if you've sourced it from somewhere, and if they sell them, I'd be very much interested, because I'd like to buy one, and I'd like to do some experiments between the helix and the potty. So that's that. Leon, you mentioned, or you quick comment was that I've got my Pluto kind of uncovered. I guess it's because there's such low power within the box itself. Sort of the output from the preamp is 40 milliwatts, less than 40 milliwatts. So I didn't think there'd be anything that would cause interference on it. If you think that I should shield it, or potential issues in the future that I should shield it, then then I will. Maybe anyone can elaborate on that, or if they think that I should shield it. I think, Gary, you mentioned to me in a personal text message to me about using tin to shield it. I presume that links for me, Martin. I'll check that in a moment. I think maybe, but yes. But you know what? Let me know what you think. If you think I should shield it, and what potential issues I could get if I don't. I mean, obviously, I do know about RFI and how things work but from my testing, it doesn't seem like I needed to. I guess one of the things that I was worried about was it getting too warm. Once I put the front panel on this 2U chassis and the lid on, then what's going to generate heat will be the pie. So I might actually put another temperature sensor inside the box, just so that I can see. The first rule of microwaves is putting it in a box will ensure it. Oh, okay. Okay, well, next, Mike, yep, great permanent temporary setup you've got there. Yeah, that's how we all work, isn't it, really? You have a temporary setup, that's for a few years. I'm very much guilty of that. Definitely, and well done on getting the Caribou light working. That's great. Incidentally, I was contacted by a company because of the YouTube channel. I get contacted by lots of different people asking me if they will showcase their products, and half the time I'm rejecting dog grooming gear and all that kind of stuff. But every now and again, someone sends me something which is quite interesting. And let me show you. Just make sure the mic is on that channel. Yeah, it is. So I got contacted by a company, or by the people that are making this, an Ant SDR 200. And it looks quite good. Ethernet based. Not too sure how long it's been out, or if it's actually out yet, but it covers 325 to 3.8 gigahertz, has a gigabit Ethernet. There's some more information here, but anyway, I've got one of those coming, so it's going to be interesting to see how well that works and if there's any software that's going to be compatible with it. I mean, ideally, SDR console would be awesome. But, yeah. But anyway, so that's something that's going to be arriving on the doorstep soon. And hopefully it will work. What else was there I was going to mention? Oh, yes. I don't know if any of you guys, because I just noticed my hair looks a complete mess. I do apologise. Not that it matters. But so, as you saw on my dashboard, I'm sort of monitoring quite a few different things that's going on, voltages and temperature and things like that. One of lucky to have there. Well, you know what? I think it, yeah, judging by how my father looks, yeah, it might not be too long till I lose some hair. Anyway, what was the thing? What was I saying? Oh yes, so I'm measuring quite a few things in the box, voltages and temperatures and stuff. One of the things that I'd absolutely love to do is measure the RF output from my amplifier, and also measure SWR. Now that's unfortunately where my technical expertise is kind of running thin. I from my research, something like I think I read something like a directional coupler or something like that, but I have no idea how I can interface that. So I don't know if any of you guys have used any way of or any methods of measuring RF out directional coupling detectors. So I'm kind of on the right track there, and then it's a case of then looking at the output from these couplers and detectors, and then making sure that it's the right value that's being shown. Ports down power meter. I'll have to look into that. But anyway, but yeah, everything's all good. And Peter, your audio picture looks great. Looks really good. And And yeah, everything's covered on my notes, I think. So I will put it over to Martin now. So this is Mike 0 Delta Quebec Whiskey. Over to G8 KOE.
Right, thank you there, Matt. I think we've got it. Yes. Yeah, that's the where I got it from, and it came within, I don't know, a week, 10 days, something like that. Well packed, all ready to go, set up, nothing to do. I was going to say the driven element side is thicker than the one that I got on the other dish, which was the kit that I had to make up. Yeah, and the LMB, it's the first one of those that I've got, and they show easy to drill a hole in the end just with a step drill, which mine must be a bit blunt, I think, because it didn't seem to want to sort of cut because it's very thin. That I probably should have taken the cover off, which I was having difficulty to do, but I didn't do that. And in the end, I must admit that I didn't actually cut it out so much as I actually put something in and twisted it around so it bent it out more. So there's a lip going inside, and it actually fits very snug. But I did see, looking at I think another YouTube video or whatever, that somebody had cut all the horn off completely. Taken all the plastic off, obviously, and cut the horn off. And you end up with a very small amount, but it is actually, according to him, the size of the inside of the 22mm tube. So you can then fit it on the end rather neatly. So I don't know whether I shall attempt to go that route, but I think perhaps you should try that, Matt, and make a YouTube video on it. If it works, then I'll have a go. Yeah, no, I'm impressed with the speed at which it came. I was just trying to read, saw something flash up on the chat. But anyway, I don't think I've got much else to sort of add, really. Hopefully, if there's some nice weather, I'll get the dish up in the garden and sort out the feed point, etc., and play around and see what maximum I can get and do comparisons with my other dish. Let's see where we go from there. It'll probably be totally disastrous, and I won't ever put the offset up. But we'll see. It's all good fun. Hair, as you can see, I've got plenty. I was trying to find a picture actually of. I used to have hair down to shoulder length, and a beard, and sandals, and a tie-dye t-shirt. Going back in time, so I did have hair once, but not anymore. I will find a picture to scare everybody perhaps next week. It's all good. Right, I think. Oh yeah, I know what I was going to comment on was quick tune. That works fine. You must be doing something wrong there, Peter. I've got multiple versions on here in various folders, and I have no problems whatsoever. Yeah, so I reckon you haven't set it up rightly when you configured it. So go through it again, I think, would be the answer here. Now that I think the whole program works exceedingly well. I have had sort of two versions running at the same time. One which was controlling the Winter Hill, which I have running. I must admit it's becoming more and more my main receiver, mainly because I can split the windows. And I don't know whether, Tom, the version that you've done, I've not looked at it, but to get to replace the card on my Winter Hill is not easy without stripping it all apart. So I've been reluctant to try whatever you've written at this stage. But I've got the two monitors, so I take one window and throw it on the right hand monitor, which is the output, which is usually the third of the windows, number three of the four windows. So the fourth one I drag across, which I'm permanently looking at the input side, so I can see that things are working okay there. And the other two are then available for me to select and monitor things. Of course, the other thing that being we were talking about things and putting it on the to-do list there, Tom, was, let's go back to the yeah, we could attach something like that. There you go, something like that. So as you can see the audio coming back on it would be quite good. That's obviously a standalone program, which I find quite good. Because it's the smallest I can get it. I thought I could go smaller, but you can alter the size of it. But anyway, trouble is I keep putting things on the list there, Tom, and you must be fed up. Why doesn't he get on and do it himself? Well, I've managed to get the little meter program, which I just downloaded, and I wouldn't be without it now because you can point it wherever you like. It's all good. But I think it could do with a reference on a receiver, so as people would all keep their audios at a certain level. Maybe it might not be the correct level initially, but you know, you have the sort of little and large club, as I call it. Sort of some signals are quite quiet, and others are quite loud. And anyway, right, it's Leon, I think, to take it again. That's I didn't intend to waffle quite so much, but I didn't comment also on the flooding there. I hope it doesn't come up anymore there, Gary. And the outside pictures, absolutely amazing. I'm jealous of those, and the wildlife, etc. That I am jealous of, the really green grass, and yes, I wouldn't want the water, but coming too much closer. But, yeah, that's really nice. So do keep showing the outside shots, please. Round to there, Leon. I'll again put a test card. It's safer that way, then I know I've finished my talking getting through.
Okay. G8 KOE in the group. It is one Mike returning, and I'll also make this my final. Martin, you're way above me with all your computer stuff and beautiful dials and things that you can make. I'm completely useless with that. Matt. Okay, firstly, no, there's nothing wrong with your Pluto. Your signal is as clean as a whistle, so you're not picking up any feedback or anything. You've got no spectral regrowth. Your picture's clean and very nice. So, no, and I mean, even when it's in its original blue plastic box, that's no RF screening anyway. So, no, don't worry. It actually is cooling better as it is now, so don't worry. Okay, yeah. To measure the power at the PA, you use a directional coupler. They are available on eBay and they're not expensive. And after that, you have another little SMA attenuator. And then, yes, I made a detector and so on, but now it's all funny curves and things to really calibrate it. But I've stumbled across a very, very neat power meter on eBay. It's, I think, 50 kilocycles to 10 gigahertz, and it is very accurate. You can dial in. It's software driven, so you run it. It's USB output, and you run it on your PC. It's very sensitive. It's 0 to minus 70 dBm is its operational range. And you can dial in your attenuation value ahead of it. So you can say whatever, 20 dB coupler, directional coupler. So you put your 20 dB in there and another 10 dB for a little attenuator on the port. So it's 30 dBs, and then the thing reads directly in watts for you, the power. And it's got a frequency setting, also a little window that you dial in the frequency that you're working on, and that whole thing's been calibrated from 50 kcs to 10 gigs, so it's very accurate, and they're not expensive. Anyway, so okay, that anti-SDR thing looks very nice. Now you've got two antennas on there. I don't know whether it's low band and high band, or whether it's full duplex like a Pluto. But yes, it looks quite interesting. Now, while we were talking, I got a WhatsApp from ZS6 Mike Charlie, whom I think is still in Portugal, because he's receiving us, and he wanted to know the latest VNA that I got. So this is it. I'll just switch it on now. I've got nothing connected to it, but this is what it looks like. Henry, if you are watching, it's called a light VNA 64. That's the two SMAs on the side with its covers. You can run it also USB onto the PC, but I found that this one, the screen is big enough for me to actually use it as it is. And you have more functions on it, using it directly, than using it on the PC. With the PC software, you don't have all the functions that you have here. So that works very, very well, and this is also from, I can't remember the bottom, but it's up to 6.3 gigs. I think this is also a couple of cases, but you can set everything on it. Okay, so Henry, I hope you got that. It's light VNA 64. There is a smaller version as well with the same guts, so it's got the same technical specs, but the screen is smaller and the battery is smaller. But if you want a thing that you can use without a laptop, this is the one to get. It's really very nice. Okay, yeah, Martin, you must stop giving jobs to Tom, because I've asked him for something a long time ago and I'm still waiting. He did start working on it, but yeah, it's that Spectrum display, Tom, that Pi-driven real-time Spectrum display, just to get what I'm getting on Scan and Tune here, but at a much quicker rate. So I can just tap it off with a little SDR and display it. That will be really handy to me. Okay, Peter, yeah, please connect up that GH4 and let's have a look at that. It's not just the resolution. You don't have to run it at 4K. You can run it at normal HDMI. But the sensitivity, the total lack of noise is amazing. That thing is, yeah, as a video camera to go and do videography, it's terrible. Although I have got some videos here that friend of mine did with his. We had his GH4 on a dolly and stabilized and everything, and I had my big Canon, and then we also had the two Sony Alpha 7s, and even though the Alpha 7 is a very nice camera and it's got a full frame chip, the GH4 was just better with this little half-size 4/3 chip. For the video, it's amazing. And I don't care about the color, because that you can correct, especially in OBS. You can do anything with the color. You must just know what you're doing. You can mess it up much easier than you can correct it. It's very easy to get lost once you can start filling with the sliders. Okay, Mike, yeah, your station, it looks good, and I mean, I've always been impressed by the quality of your signals, but yeah, mine, the Pluto is here behind the receiving monitor. Yeah, the receiving monitor screen, it's lying there, and then down there I have a little gain block, which is a Avantec amplifier, a little gain block, and then it goes outside to the workshop with RG214, about 15 or 20 meters, and there I have a driver amp and the final, and that's a permanent installation with its power supplies and everything. So, and it's it's remote controlled, as I've said before. I switch it on from here and there. And that's it. So, yeah, mine is a little bit more fixed, but still, I mean, the Pluto, how do you mount a Pluto on its own? It's and I'm running it without external power supply nowadays. I have a long, is it 3 meters? It's a long USB cable. Here's the identical one. Since I'm using this cable, no, it's not so long. This is 1 meter. It's a 2 meter USB cable that's running my Pluto straight into the PC. 100% stability. I've never ever had any funnies since I've been doing that. No extra 5 volt in the other USB port. It just works. When I had various small short USB cables. I think the one that came with the Pluto as well. No, all sorts of funnies and rubbish and stuff. I've been battling for more than a year. Until I thought, well, I've got these cables, they fit better and so on. They're very long, and you're not supposed to use long cables when running high bit rates and stuff. Beautiful, as stable as a rock. So, just shows you. Okay, Mike. No, I give it to Peter. I'll listen for the last 3 guys, and then I'm gonna run. So 73s, and yeah, I'll check. It's probably Henry answering there on the WhatsApp. GW7 BZY for the group from ZS1 Mike saying 73s but still washing.
GW7 BZY, yeah. GW7 BZY, yeah. Audio killed on the monitor. I'll just connect the GH up. There we go. That's a GH4, Leon. Okay, I'm making that up. It's not as bad as that. I can give you a demonstration of the GH4 and what this is color balanced now, so that the white areas are balanced as they should be. I don't understand. The battery's gone flat on it. It's naturally. That's the other thing. I don't run it. So we just cut it now. You can see the strange colour. Yeah, I was just fiddling about with it, but you can see the difference between a 3-chip camera and a single-chip camera there. The jumper is correct, although not as sharp as you might imagine, considering it's a 4K camera. And the face looks rather strangely coloured. And I don't know about noise-free. The noise isn't very bad, I don't think. I don't know if it's as good as this PMW 350, which is like an ENG broadcast camera. I doubt it is as good. The colour doesn't look anywhere near as good, I have to say. I'm sure. I don't think that's a prime example of what the GH4 can do, because it was in the standard setting, and I hadn't, I can't remember how to adjust it to make it look reasonable. But it doesn't. I don't find. I think it looks like a single chip camera to me, and of course they've got much better as time's gone by. But single chip cameras, single tube video cameras were the low end, and single chip cameras remained the low end for a long time. You want 3 chips to get good colour. As in Technicolor, where you have 3 film strip, and you see that modern. If you've ever seen Wizard of Oz reissued, the colour is fantastic, and that's a 3-chip camera, in film. So it'll work and it's sharp, but I don't find it to be that good. You compare this to a fairly low broadcast camera.
Peter, quick tune on your side.
I think you'll agree. It's a very strange. It's sharp. You see, the jumper looks really nice and sharp.
Martin, yeah.
I don't know about the background. I can't see the colour in the background from the other side. Facing the other way from the side. But yeah,
Actually got
I think you can see the beard better maybe. It's sharp, without a doubt, but it's not correct. Anyway, that's my bit. That's my bit about the GH4. I'm sure the new cameras are better. Though it takes perfectly good photos, and you can't really see any problem with it. You know, compared to my monitor, that looks very soft. You know, it's losing a lot in the compression. I have to keep my head still like Gary because he's good with the compression. He just stands there, looks at the camera, spot on. As why my quick tune doesn't work there, Benno. I can't. There's no reason that I can see. I can't see what I'm doing any differently. I haven't actually switched the computer off when I've stopped one and started the other. So I don't know if that would work. I'll give that a go. But there's no reason. But I don't find there's always a reason for computers not to do things. I'm sure there's a very simple reason. I just don't know what it is. That's about all really. I've still got my finger to put on the amplifier. It doesn't get very hot. I think if Matt there, if you go to the potty antenna, I found that the helical antenna I use, and I use a few iterations of it, and some work better than others, but none of them works as well as the potty. Once I put the potty onto the 1.25 meter dish, that is when I started blasting a decent signal into the repeater. I'll repeat it into the. I'll just check what actually signal am I putting in. No, I'm not overpowering it. No, I'm not. Not anywhere near. I can actually go up a little bit. There we go. So, is there any other message? Any other things are written down here? I don't think so. Excellent back garden, Gary. Really nice to see the wildlife out there. It's interesting wildlife. To us, maybe to you it's just every day, but to us over here in the cold and dark of Wales and Britain generally, deer and stuff wandering around your garden is something to be seen, and certainly even the river going past your garden is quite exciting. All I have here is grey skies and poor weather. Not quite true, but although the mountains are really nice. I went for a walk up the mountains a few days ago and went for about 5 miles around, and we do have a very nice mountains up here in Wales, and you know, it's all compact, so you can walk about a fair amount of it in an afternoon rather than having to spend days, I suppose, like maybe Scotland. That's about it really. KO, yeah, good to see you there, Martin. Like I said, nothing to be embarrassed about your tech there. It's excellent, I have to say. As the one Matt has. Matt is really on the ball there with his kit. I say I'm still using my finger. I touch the amplifier if it's hot, something's up, and I switch the PA on and off by the driver, or just cut down on the Pluto on the DATV Easy. That's the high tech. That's the high tech version this side. I mean, I used to use a hardware DATV transmitter. Running MPEG-2 video and into our local repeater for many years with analog inputs. And analog's quite a difficult thing to get into a transmitter these days because everything I have nearly has digital outputs. So that was a. I have spent a lot of money on. Can't see one sat around here of D2A converters on video from SDI to analog of various flavours. With that, I'll hand it round. I don't remember who I'm supposed to hand it to. I will in a moment though. Oh. No idea. From GW7B1.
Good, thank you, Peter. Let me just mute the audio. Yeah, sun on the lens, you see. That's the outdoor view at the moment. It's sunny, but still winter. Right, all very interesting. I haven't got anything new to add. I'll have another go getting the caribou light to actually do something a little bit more interesting. I'm hoping that I'll be able to transmit DATV with it and maybe receive it as well. It's just a matter of getting it all configured. The point is the price. The ant looks really interesting, and glad you got hold of one, Matt. I did look at that when it came out. I remember they sent me they basically about every week or every month you get something from Crowd Supply with the latest things that are being produced, and that had come up, but I wondered how much it was going to cost, given it's using the standard analog device, and the USRP costs quite a lot of money. I wouldn't be surprised if it was pretty expensive, but wait and see, and we'll find out. It could be a pleasant surprise. You never know. Okay, and sorry to hear about all the flooding that you got in Johannesburg. I did think you were a long way away from it because you're so high up, but obviously not. And not much fun if it doesn't stop raining tropically wise. We do have continuous rain here. Dave was saying in the Lake District it rains every day. It does, but it does tend to stop as well, and it's not usually incredibly heavy rain. Quite often quite sharp in that it contains hail and things, but not all the time. Anyway, we don't want to get into meteorology, so let's go around to Tom, and I hope everybody has a good week. G0MJW.
Cool. Thank you there, Mike. G0JW 06 Tango Golf. And yeah, thanks everybody. That was a really interesting net. Definitely some cool stuff there. Matt, since you're doing the long the node rate stuff and you're using Longmint, you can set up on your dashboard, if you want, you can also tie into either the Longmint client via WebSockets to pull off, you know, wherever you're tuned in, and you know the modes, the MER and the D rating, all that. You can pull that into your dashboard as well, either from an output from the Longmint client itself or even directly from the Longmint server side. So if you want to do that, then just let me know. I'll send you the details for that. But yeah, that could expand your dashboard there. But Leon, yes, I do still owe you your project, and what can I say? I get easily distracted with new projects. It's my problem. So I need to finish that up. You're right. I'll sort that out for you. Martin, yeah, I did look at the audio stuff at some point, but yeah, the VLC libraries don't give me a nice decent input to that audio. What I should maybe, while we were talking, I was thinking I should maybe just tie into the sound devices on the PC, and then whichever one you're tying into there, maybe, you know, put the meters on it on there. I'll play around a bit, but yeah, I have looked on it. You have mentioned it before. It just didn't seem as simple as I thought originally, but I'll check it out. Yeah, no, the Matt, the using video streams on the Node Red, I've played with it as well, but it's a pain and it doesn't work really like a. But yeah, no, there's issues. It is doable, but it doesn't seem reliable from what I've found. But it's something to try as well. But yeah, you should be able to control Longmint and all that from your Node Red setup. I'll send. I got your email there. I'll send you the details. Well, there's no official documentation. I'm just going to send it to you roughly. Well, I can send you an example flow for what I've got going here, and then you can just ask questions from there. I think that's everybody. Peter, yeah, let me know if you're still struggling with that quick tune. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. It's so simple, it shouldn't fairly work, but yeah, let me know. Yeah, I think that's about everything that I still wanted to add. Gary, that's a nice picture of the springbok in your yard there. You're gonna make everybody think that we all have springboks in our yard here in South Africa. But yeah, that's a beautiful picture. And yeah, hopefully the flooding doesn't get worse there, although I have heard they might be opening up another sluice, so we'll see how it goes. So good luck with that. Okay, everybody, have a nice week, and we'll see everybody again next week. 70. Well, I'm gonna give it back to Gary. ZS6 Yankee India from Zulu Romeo 6 Tango Golf. 73, everybody.
Okay, Tom, we will wrap up the net. This is ZA6YI returning. Good. No, good signals from everybody today. Looks like Murphy was more or less put in his place. Mike, just on some notes I made, very, very interesting on that SDR. Caribou, I think you said it was. I did read it, but I didn't jot it down. But it looks interesting and is working well. And Leon, on your new VGA, yeah, that's about the size of mine, my little one, but yours goes to, what's it, 6.8 or something gigahertz. So it never ends, doesn't it? But excellent piece, and glad you're using it. Yeah, Matt, interested on that ANT SDR E200. We're going to have a look at that. Nice little enclosure it's built into. That's the right way. And I just want to say hi to the guys that are on YouTube and also watching us live. Adam, Sierra Papa 9 Alpha Charlie Quebec, hello to you. To Stuart, now what is your call sign? ZR6YT, 1 Sierra Charlie India, welcome aboard. He'll be on DATV in no time. John, Sierra Victor 9 India Oscar Quebec. Nice to see you there, John. And then, of course, Henry, ZA6 Mike Charlie. So, yeah, it's been quite a nice team. We had 47 viewers on at one stage. Not nearly like Matt's 1.3 kilo viewers, and even some more, 3.7 thousand guys viewing. Fantastic. Yeah, I have a springbok. Yeah, you're quite right. You don't have them in every backyard, but I've got 27 acres of ground. And Mike, indeed, we have rivers high up, and my QTH, if you just type in Kilo Golf 33 X-Ray Hotel, you will see where two rivers join, where the confluence of two rivers, the Vaal River and the Sugarbush River. That's exactly where my QTH is. So I actually have two rivers in my backyard. Now, the Vaal River is fed from the Vaal Dam. There's a dam upstream, and when we have torrential rain like we've had the last week and a half, and also in the catchment area of the dam, you find that eventually the dam fills up. It's at 115%. So it's got a margin of error, but it's already at 115%, so they have to open the sluices. The problem we have is downstream, about 25 kilometers, we have more sluices because this is the water catchment area and purification area for the whole of Johannesburg, Pretoria area and the East and West Rand. So our levels are normally the same, and they control it by either closing the sluices at the barrages, we call it, downstream, and opening up one or two sluices at Vaal Dam, and they peak it very nicely. But when we have these torrential rains, and also downstream rains, you got a headache. So they open the sluices at the barrage, but then they are forced to open the sluices at the Vaal Dam because the water is just gushing in over a huge area. And so this area in between starts to become a dam. And that's the problem that we have. We've had the water very high, right up to my garages at one time. In 1975, it was under the I've got a 3-story house, and it was on the first story, completely underwater. But anyway, I have 2 buck that arrived on my premises, goodness knows how. The one about 10 years ago, it's been here all along. It's called a blessbook. And then the springbuck arrived in around about November of last year. And when they get here, it's safe. It's all walled off, actually, fenced off. Plenty of grass to eat. And so they don't leave. And the little blessbook and the big blessbook and the young springbuck have become buddies. So wherever the one goes, the other one's close by. They sort of protect each other. But I'll just show you a quick video I took of the bigger buck, if I can get it. Let me just see, here it goes. This is this morning, by the way. And you can see the water all flooded out. That's now the bigger buck, the older one. It's been here about 10 years, maybe a bit more. And that's it. And then, of course, the other little one that came recently is this one. That's a little springbuck. And that's also used to be our national sporting emblem. So anyway, I thought I'll just put that on out of interest sake. Right, chaps, I'm going to close the net. We wish everyone a very happy week. We look forward to next week, and let's hope we have something more interesting, and interesting as this week. Always interesting. Thanks very much for coming up. I will now throw the ball in the air, so to speak, and those that want to continue, please do. This is ZA6YI, now closing station. Wishing everybody a very happy week. 7-3 all.